Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, our lesson for today is going to continue with the theme of exponential growth that we've been seeing thus far, except today we're going to see a scenario that is exponential growth, but it's slightly different, right? It's going to look a little bit different than you've seen in the past, but we're also going to see some ways that it is the same, right? So, the scenario for today says that when Penelope was born, her aunt gave her a stamp worth $2,500. Penelope considered selling the stamp to buy ice cream. However, she remembered that her aunt told her if she saved the stamp, it would increase in value. So right here, it's telling us 2,500. We should be recognizing that that is going to end up being an initial value, right? That's how much the stamp is starting being worth. And it's telling us that the stamp is going to be increasing in value. Now, specifically, it says that she saved the stamp and it increased by 6% each year. Okay, now we want to fill out the table below to show the value of the stamps over the first 5 years. So I'm going to help you get started here and then you're going to finish up. Just please watch what I'm doing very carefully, right? So it's telling us that the value of the stamp is increasing by 6%, right? So this is going to go back to when we were doing that unit on finance and we were finding things like sales tax. It's going to be a lot similar to that. So first thing that I want to figure out is what is 6% of 2,500 to figure out how much the stamp increased by. Now, remember, when you're dealing with percentages and you want to do math with it, the first thing you need to do is convert it to a decimal. So first, 6% as a decimal is 0.06. Be careful, it's not 0.6, it's 0.06. And another way that we do that is we say 6%, that's 6 out of 100%, which gives you the 0.06 if you put that into a calculator. So remember, anytime you're trying to find a percent, all you have to do is divide by 100. So 0.06 of, if you remember, means multiplication. So I need to do 0.06 multiplied by 2,500. That's going to tell me how much it increased by. So I'm going to put that in my calculator. 0.06 times 2,500. Oops, that's 250. Make sure you put the right thing in. Gets me 150, okay? So this is where we need to be careful. 150 is how much it is increasing by, right? The stamp's not worth 150. It's worth the initial price plus 150. So what's going in this box here is going to be 2,500 plus 150 gets me, so you can put this into a calculator, $2,650. Right? So we do this in 2 steps. First, you find the interest, and then you add that onto what you had before, okay? I'll do that for you one more time with the next one, and then you're gonna do the next 3 for yourself, right? But take your time with this, okay? So I'm gonna put a line here. Next one, same thing. I'm still using the 6%, so I know that it is increasing by 6% of what I have now. Okay, it's not going to keep adding 150 because I'm earning basically interest on my interest. So now it's 0.06. So 6% of 2,650. So this value here is increasing by 6%. So calculator again, 0.06 times now 2,650. Gets me a value of 159. So you see that it actually is increasing by a bit more now. Last time it increased by 150, now it's increasing by 159. So to get from this year to this year, I need to add, right? Before, from here to here, we added 150. This year to this year, we're actually adding 159. So you're gonna find that every year you're adding a little bit more than the previous year. So 2,650 plus 159 gets us 2,809. So this year, now the stamp is worth $2,809. You're gonna do the same thing 3 more times. So I'm not gonna do it for you, I'm gonna help you set up the next one. First, 6% of this value, 2,809. Figure out what you get there and add that to your previous value. Okay, so continue that part. I'm not going to give you the rest of these answers. If you have trouble with it, I will help you during the Zoom session. Okay, once you have your table filled out, next thing that you're going to do is look at the numbers in your table. So this, the next three that you have, does this appear to you to be growing exponentially, right? Remember what we said exponential growth means. It means that you continue to multiply over and over by the same amount and write in words if you think it's exponential or not, right? Now, next thing, what is the initial value, right? Remember where we find the initial value. We find the initial value at time 0, right? It's given to you on the paper. I also pointed that out at the beginning. So we should all be able to fill this box out. Next thing is it asks us, what is the growth factor? Okay, so it is an exponential relationship. It doesn't quite look like it yet, but remember, if something is exponential, it has a growth factor. The way that you're gonna find your growth factor is you're gonna look at your table and you need to divide two numbers, right? You always divide 1 year by the year before it. So you have a couple of options here. You can use any of the numbers that I used at the beginning, or you can use some numbers that you did down here. So you could do something like, say, this number 2809 divided by this number. That should give you a growth factor. Or you could do this number divided by that number. Doesn't matter which combination you use, either one will give you the growth factor. So again, the way you always find it is you divide one term by the term right above it, right? That's going to tell you what you multiplied by to get from here to here. That's how you can also check your answer. Okay, once you found what your growth factor is, it's a number, it should have a decimal point in it. Write your growth factor here, right? Second to last thing is you're gonna make your equation, right? So remember, we need to have 4 things to make up these equations. We need to have our dependent variable here. Our independent variable should be here. This box here should be your growth factor. And this box here should be your initial value. So last page, we identified the initial value. Here, you identified the growth factor goes here. Dependent variable, independent variable, those are given to you here. So it tells me that the value of the stamp is noted by the variable V, and the number of years is noted by the variable N. So letter here, number here, right? You're gonna end up with your equation, right? Pause the video, try to come up with it yourself, then I'm gonna give it to you just to make sure you can do the next part yourself. Okay, so the value of the stamp depends on how many years have passed by, right? That tells me that value is my dependent variable. So the value of the stamp goes here. My independent variable goes here. My initial value we found on the first page, remember, was the initial price of the stamp, so 2,500. And the growth factor, which you should have found, was 1.06. All right, so this looks a little bit messy, but the way that it would look is basically V equals 2,500 multiplied by 1.06 raised to the nth power. Again, the purpose of this equation is it's a recipe. It's telling me that the value of the stamp is equal to this here. So if I want to figure out a given value, right? Like let's say I want to know how much the stamp is worth in, say, 7 years. The way that we go about doing that is I know that N represents 7. You replace this N with the number 7. So the value of the stamp in 7 years would be equal to 2,500 multiplied by 1.06 raised to the 7th power. And when you put that into the calculator, I'd say 2,500 times 1.06 raised to the 7th power. Hit enter. So that's my number there. $3,759.08. So in 7 years, this equation tells you the value of the stamp is 3759.08, right? You need to do something similar to find the value of the stamp in 10 years, okay? Any of that did not make sense, pause the video, rewind it, rewatch it again, come to the Zoom session, I will help you there, right? Once you're done with that, the next thing you're gonna do is basically the same exact thing that we did, except now you're talking about the stamp increasing by a value of 4% each year, right? So your table's gonna look a little bit different, but you're gonna do the same exact thing that we did before, right? So look back at what we did before, try to see if you can replicate what we did. You're gonna do the same exact thing, fill out this table like I did before, find the initial value, identify the growth factor by dividing terms, write your equation, answer this, okay? Any questions, please let me know during the Zoom session, okay? Good luck.